They say the truth is stranger than fiction, but sometimes the truth is just darker. Most crimes we hear about make sense. There's a motive, a weapon, a clear timeline. But then there are the cases that don't follow the rules. The ones that start with a question mark and end in a nightmare. Today, we are descending the iceberg. We're starting with a mystery that still divides experts today. And we're going to end with a monster who taunted police for 30 years before a single mistake brought him down. This is the iceberg of crime. Welcome to Grain. We begin at level 1, the surface, a case that is officially closed, but for anyone who looks closely, it remains wide open. It's January 2011 in Philadelphia. A blizzard is raging outside. Inside a locked apartment, 27-year-old teacher Ellen Greenberg is found dead in her kitchen. Her fiancé, Sam, who says he broke down the door after returning from the gym, is the one who finds her. The scene is gruesome. Ellen has been stabbed 20 times, 10 times in the back of the neck and head. The knife is still embedded in her chest. At first glance, this looks like a brutal homicide, but then the autopsy report comes back with a single word that changes everything: suicide. The medical examiner argues that because the apartment was locked from the inside, with the swing bar latch engaged, no intruder could have entered or left. Therefore, Ellen must have done this to herself. But look at the details: 20 stab wounds, including wounds to the back of the head. Can a person physically stab themselves in the back of the skull repeatedly with enough force to penetrate bone? Pathologists hired by Ellen's family say no. They argue the wounds are consistent with a surprise attack from behind. They point out that she had bruises in different stages of healing, suggesting prior abuse. And yet, the official ruling stands. This case sits at the top of our iceberg because it's a logic puzzle. It's disturbing not because of the gore, but because it feels like reality itself has glitched. Was it a physical impossibility, or a locked room murder that someone got away with? As we descend to level 2, we leave the realm of mystery and enter the realm of sudden, violent escalation. This is where safety is an illusion. In many crimes, the danger is a stranger in the dark. But in the case of Joshua Hubert, the danger was standing right there at the family cookout. It's a warm evening. A family is gathered at a grandparent's house. Kids are playing, laughter, food. It's the definition of safety. Among the guests is a friend of the family, Joshua Hubert. He's known them for years. He's trusted. But as the party winds down, something unthinkable happens. While the 7-year-old granddaughter is sleeping, Hubert quietly takes her. He puts her in his car and drives off into the night. Unlike Ellen's case, there is no mystery here. This is raw predation. Hubert drives the terrified girl around for hours. At one point, he stops at a gas station, a moment caught on CCTV, where the sheer normalcy of his behavior is chilling. But here is where the story pivots. This little girl? She is a survivor. In a moment of pure bravery, when Hubert stops the car near a bridge, she sees her chance. She escapes. She runs to a nearby house, pounding on the door in the dead of night, begging for help. When police arrest Hubert, he claims it was all a misunderstanding, but the evidence and the girl's testimony tells a different story. Level 2 reminds us that the monster isn't always hiding under the bed. Sometimes, he's the guy flipping burgers at the barbecue. We are now deep below the surface. Level 3. This is where crime stops being a momentary act of violence and becomes a prolonged, living hell. If Level 2 was about a sudden attack, Level 3 is about the slow erosion of a human soul. Meet Kimberly Sullivan. To the outside world, she was a stepmother, but inside her home, she was a warden. For over 2 decades, she kept her stepson captive in a tiny, filth-ridden room. This wasn't a kidnapping for ransom. This was pure, sadistic control. The victim, a man with learning disabilities, was treated worse than an animal. He was forced to sleep on the floor. He was denied food. The details are nauseating. He was often forced to drink from the toilet because he was denied water. He was beaten if he made noise. He was told that nobody wanted him, that he was garbage. What makes this level 3 is the element of time. 20 years. That is 7,300 days of waking up in the same nightmare. Neighbors walked by that house every day. They mowed their lawns, they walked their dogs. They had no idea that mere feet away, a human being was rotting in captivity. This case forces us to ask, how well do we really know what happens behind our neighbors' closed curtains? And finally, we reach the bottom. Level 4, the abyss. Here, we find a man who didn't just kill, he collected pain. He gave himself a name, BTK. Bind, torture, kill. Dennis Rader was a church president, a Cub Scout leader, a compliance officer who measured people's grass to make sure it wasn't too long. But at night, he was a phantom who haunted Wichita, Kansas for 30 years. Rader didn't just murder 10 people. He terrorized an entire city. He would break into homes, bind his victims, and then wait. He described the act of waiting for them to come home as trolling. He strangled entire families. He took Polaroids of his victims in staged positions, and then he would go home and eat dinner with his wife and kids. But the true horror of level 4 is his ego. After going dormant for years, Rader resurfaced in 2004 solely because he wanted credit. He started sending letters again. He asked police, "Can a floppy disk be traced?" The police, lying to catch a monster, said, "No." Rader sent the disk. Metadata on that disk led police straight to the church computer of Dennis. When he was interrogated, he didn't cry. He didn't scream. He described his murders with the same monotone voice he used to discuss zoning laws. He is the abyss, the complete absence of humanity packaged in a mundane, boring man. From a locked room mystery to a suburban predator, from a house of hidden horrors to a serial killer who lived among us for decades. The deeper we go, the darker it gets. And the scariest part? This is just one iceberg. There are thousands more floating out there, waiting to be discovered. If you want to go deeper with us next week, make sure you're subscribed to Grain. Until then, stay safe.